Okay, good morning, everybody. Good morning, and actually, to me, it's good morning. I know some place probably good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Also, thank you so much. Bonjour ou bien bonsoir, tout le monde. Thank you, everybody, for all the support my video. And as everybody know, I always follow the former President Donald Trump, and then I always say the situation for Mr. Trump always be like in a certain situation, and I don't understand, or I don't know how much can he take, because it's something to me. Everything he try is going against him. Everything he try is going against him, and then this month is very busy for the guy. Very very busy for the guy. He had to go there. 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 But what happened is, now he tried to do appeal, discord everywhere. It's something, everything going against the former president Donald Trump. And like I say, where that going to be end up, what is going to be, Guy, I'm going to let you listen to it. And I don't want to put the word in nobody's mouth then. So let's listen to what the former president had to say itself.
Crazy because it's a setup. It's a rigged trial. We have a hostile group of people. We have a very hostile judge. I hate to say it. We have a very, very hostile judge. And I think everybody knows that. And we see that. But the good thing is we have all of the evidence on our side. They have nothing. And it's a case that should have never been brought. I just read many, many articles saying this case is a disgrace to our nation. And I think it's a disgrace to our country. And somebody has to fight, because if you don't fight, our country's just going to go down the tubes. This is election interference. This guy's a highly partisan person, and we can't let this stuff happen. So you should ask yourselves as professionals, I have a lot of respect for you, not all of you, but a lot of you. Why is it that he didn't honor the decision of the appellate? And by the way, I believe it was a unanimous decision, right? 5-0 decision, unanimous decision. And he said, I'm not going to honor it. Let's go to trial. This is a judge that should be disbarred. This is a judge that should be out of office. This is a judge that some people say could be charged criminally for what he's doing. He's interfering with an election, and it's a disgrace. Thank you very much.
Mr. Trump, why do you want to be here in person today?
Because I want to watch this witch hunt myself. I've been going through a witch hunt for years, but this is really now getting dirty between Jack Smith and between all of these DOJ people helping them along. This is a pure witch hunt for purposes of interfering with the elections of the United States of America. It's totally illegal. This judge should be disbarred. He shouldn't be allowed to be a judge.
And of course, everything he's saying is abject nonsense, but the real reason that he showed up is because presenting himself as a victim at the hands of the big evil deep state is a campaign strategy. He knows that all of these prosecutions are going to take him down, so his only option here, since he won't actually be able to win anything in court, is to undermine them in the
reason why I did it, I want you guys to listen to it yourself. I don't want to keep telling you. I mean, I know everybody's watching it, and then only thing I does that because of my friend, of my supporter, of my channel, of my YouTube channel. Guy, I mean, I hope everybody understand what I'm trying to do here, and then I hope everybody coming out and support the video, and then please guys share and like and subscribe. I mean, when I get the report from YouTube, it's like everybody is watching the video, they not subscribe to the video. It's like almost 98% of the people doesn't subscribe to my channel. Guy, when you subscribe to my channel, it's not like you have to, but all it is like you want to support me, you want to help me get somewhere with my channel. And man, remember that, guy, YouTube not really like YouTube. It's like not really like YouTube. YouTube is say, hey, we're gonna give you money, but we get money from you guys, a supporter, you guys, a fan, guy. Please subscribe, like, and leave me a comment and let me know what you think about the former president, what's going on with that where that gonna go, if the former president, I don't know, guy. Honest with you, I don't know. I cannot say anything. I don't know. But it's something to me. Think everything is going against the former president, and things not going on his way. And then he's like he said, everybody hear that. He tried all his best, everything he could to see if he could have stopped it. And some to me, no way for him to stop it. So we're gonna make sure let you keep listening everything is going on. So now we're gonna go to this lady, and it's da 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 da.
This is a staggering amount of money for virtually anybody. I mean, maybe there's a handful of people, in the entire country who can afford to write a check for $500 million. Donald is not one of them. So right now, the pressing issue is if he's going to appeal. How does he appeal? Does he put up a cash bond? Where's he getting the cash from? He's not going to find somebody to bond it for him. He couldn't find somebody to bond $5.3 million in the E. Jean Carroll case.
Okay, so there's the dollar amount. What do you think the borrowing from business for 3 years, what does that mean?
That's a big problem for him because so is Don Jr., so is Alan Weisselberg and Eric Trump. So who's going to run the business? Ivanka? Doubtful. She doesn't want anything. She wants to stay as far away from this scenario as she possibly can. They have their own life. So what happens to the Trump Corporation?
Who do you think runs the business? And who do you think runs the business, especially given that you have this monitor that's going to continue to babysit the business?
Well, you need a monitor to babysit, considering different than anybody would pay. So chop it by 40% or 50%. So that $240 million asset is $120 million clean, but then you have mortgages on it.
The guy who spoke right now is Michael, I think Michael Cohen, something like that. He was the former lawyer for President Trump, and I think he went to jail. He went to prison, whatever, jail or prison, I don't know. And he went to prison. Now he's not a lawyer for former President Trump, but now he's trying to explain what's going on. I hope you guys, everybody pay attention to it, guy. And I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to bring it to you. Please don't forget to subscribe and like and share the video. Leave me a comment and I will get back to you. Let's see what you guys think about the former President Donald Trump for 2020-2024. He got to go to
He's not running for the presidency of the United States.
For 2024, he had to go he's doing a campaign. Everybody know he's doing a campaign for a second term for president. I want you guys to let me know, do you think that's gonna happen? Do you think he's gonna become a second term president of United States? Guy, don't forget again, like and share and subscribe. Thank you so much. Listen to Michael Cohen, the former lawyer for Donald Trump.
Your former boss. Quote, the English poet Alexander Pope first declared, to err is human, to forgive is divine. Defendants apparently are of a different mind. After some 4 years of investigation and litigation, the only error, inadvertent of course, that they acknowledge is the tripling of the size of the Trump Tower penthouse, which cannot be gainsaid. Their complete lack of contrition and remorse borders on pathological. They are accused only of inflating asset values to make more money. The documents prove this over and over again. This is a venal sin, not a mortal one. Defendants did not commit murder or arson. They did not rob a bank at gunpoint. Donald Trump is not Bernard Madoff, yet defendants are incapable of admitting the error of their ways. Instead, they adopt a see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil posture that the evidence belies. How does this square with the MO of the person you used to work for?
Yeah, it's spot on. I mean, the difference, though, is when I was working for Donald, I was working for the president and CEO of a small myopic real estate development company. It's not the same as working for somebody who's the president of the United States. As a result, Donald has never, ever been able to admit error. He's never admitted error once, not when he was president CEO at the Trump Org, or when he was president of the United States. He is incapable of error, and as a result of that inability, we end up with this 90-plus page decision.
He's incapable of error, but it goes beyond him. I mean, there is no one who is a part of the organization who's willing to step up and say, okay, there were some mistakes here.
I did. I mean,
actively a part of the organization, but yes, go ahead.
Right. That's because they're fearful for their job. If you say the wrong thing, you're terminated the very next day. With Donald Trump, your job was never secure. You're only as good as what you achieved yesterday. And everyone is in competition in order to get credit from him so that you get a thumbs up, you get a notch in the belt. And that's another day that you're there to work.
So you have the two older sons required to pay some money out of
$4 million each.
$4 million each. You have Weisselberg, the only non-family member, who's being ordered to pay a fine.
$1 million.
Why hasn't he flipped?
Alan Weisselberg is an unusual guy. He's been working for Trump for 50 years. Donald inherited him from his father, Fred, when Donald asked to borrow money to go into the business. Fred didn't trust Donald with money, and so he gave him his bookkeeper. He has been with Donald side by side at the Trump Organization.
Guy, if you listen to it, guy, and I know probably a lot of you guy, we not a politician, we not this, but guy, if you living in this day and this world, you have to follow something, you have to listen to something, you got to make sure you listen to news and everything like this. And then when I look at all these people talking about the former President Donald Trump, I feel like I said, wow, the former president, he's in deep trouble, guys. If you look at him, guy, I mean, it's to me like when he was a president, you are a public guy, and then he was a business guy. He was a business guy, and then he got a lot of money. But what I heard, the money, the New York City or New York State charged him is a lot of money. The first 255 million. Now it's like another 400 something million. His son 400 something. His son 400 something. Guy, must be crazy. And then that's what he said. He gonna find the money. Do he have all this money? Guy, remember that when you say a billionaire doesn't mean he billionaire in cash. He's a billionaire he had a lot of assets. He had maybe a lot of car, a lot of house, a lot of land, a lot of bank, a lot of business, lots of hotel, a lot of house and everything all over the world. That don't mean he's a billionaire. He got the money in cash. You got need to know. Everyone need to know that when you see somebody a billionaire with a lot of money, it's not because he got a lot of cash. He had a lot of assets. He got a lot of maybe a lot of land, a lot of plane, a lot of this, like this, a lot of this, a lot of house and everything like this. That started this. But the money they asked him, you hear that? First 80 million, 255 million. Now he's back again to 450 something million. His son 400 million. His son 400 million. Guy, I mean, why would he wanna become a president again? Why he's not, I mean, they asked him, he said he loved it, he liked it, he can live large, but he want to do it, he want it for the people of United States. He want to make America great again. Let's see, guy, let's listen to everything, guy. Bang.
If
you don't say bang, say boom,
Michael Cohen,
bang.
Donald Trump was behind it. No different than they were behind the unconstitutional remand of me back to Otisville because I refused to waive my First Amendment constitutional right, that I refused to sign what's called an FLM, a Federal Location Monitoring Agreement, that didn't even exist. It was a made-up document. They basically asked me to sign a document that's not legitimate, it's not real. When I refused to do it, They had the marshals waiting for me, and they remanded me back to Otisville for another 15, 16 days of solitary confinement.
You have Engoron validating your credibility in a civil fraud trial. What does that mean as we look forward to some of Donald Trump's criminal cases?
Well, first, thank you, Judge Engoron, because it's true. It's a true statement, and I do appreciate it, as I appreciated Tish James credited me for starting this. What does it mean going forward for what will be the first criminal case to confront Trump? That's March 25th, where I am going to be a witness. I've been subpoenaed to testify. Otherwise, I wouldn't have. Without a subpoena, I wasn't testifying at all. But what does it do? It validates everything that I've been saying all along, whether it was to the Mueller report, to the 7 congressional committees I spoke to the Manhattan District Attorney, to the New York Attorney General. It validates everything that I've been saying all along. That Donald Trump's a con man, he's a cheat, and many other things.
Well, let's talk about the case. It was reported that you met with prosecutors in the DA's office this week. Did you?
I did.
Anything you can share about those conversations?
I can't. I've been asked, obviously, not to share anything in regard to the meetings, the sum and substance of the meetings.
As you know, Donald Trump has said that what happened in the hush money payments wasn't a crime. You went to jail for it. I'm sure you see it slightly differently.
I do see it slightly different, and I think that the country should see it differently as well.
Do you see it as election interference?
I do. I think that what we did by stopping Stormy Daniels from coming forward and doing the NDA, I think what it did is it did not give the American public all the information to make a decision whether that's the person that they wanted for the presidency.
Rolling Stone calls this the, quote, final showdown between you and your former boss. I wonder if you see it that way.
I don't see it as the final showdown. I'm being subpoenaed to come in to testify, and I intend to come in and to testify and to continue to speak truth to power.
You have Donald Trump, I'm not sure if you saw already, texting his supporters, fundraising off of this. It is a message we have heard before that he is being victimized. That is not particularly surprising. I guess my question to you is, what do you say to the folks who are still sending in their $5 or $10 to those text message appeals?
It's time to wake up, stupid. All right, this isn't a joke. This is a man who has himself come forward and stated that he intends to rewrite the Constitution, that he wants to destroy our tripartite system of justice. He wants to get rid of the...
What I want everybody to understand is to me, what he said is not a joke. He was close to former President Donald Trump. He was a lawyer for him. He know a lot about him. So if he coming out and he talking that way, I want everybody to let me know what you think going to happen to former President Donald Trump. Is he going to prison, or he still have a chance to become the president of the United States? I want you guys help me with that. Guys, don't forget, always share and like the video. Share and like. Guys, I say that every day, and I'm not expert on politics and everything like that. I say that every day. The way I see things going for the former president guy, it's not going to go the way for him. And the way I see things going whatnot for the former president Donald Trump, things not going on his way. And therefore, and I don't know. This lady right there, I think she's a prosecutor for Donald Trump in Georgia. It's something to me, they accusing her doing something she's supposed to do, or she's a friend with one of the, I don't know, but I want you to listen to it and what she said.
Trump and several other co-defendants joined Roman's motion to try to remove Willis. When Roman's attorney, Ashley Merchant, accused Willis of not wanting to turn over records, Willis reminded her that she is not the one charged with a crime.
I object to you getting records. You've been intrusive into people's personal lives. You're confused. You think I'm on trial. These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020. I'm not on trial, no matter how hard you try to put me on trial.
Earlier, Mr. Wade took the stand and testified to the timeline of his relationship with Willis and how the pair split the costs of trips and their dates, with Willis, he said, paying in cash. She confirmed that later. Before that, a former friend of DA Willis, who also worked inside the DA's office, her name's Robin Yurti, testified that Willis and Wade began dating in 2019, disputing the timeline the couple had given. When pressed, it was revealed that Yurti had a falling out with Willis after she was forced out of the DA's office in 2022. Okay, with all of that said, let's bring in former U.S. Attorney and MSNBC legal analyst Joyce Vance, former Assistant U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Glenn Kirshner. He's an MSNBC legal analyst, and former litigator and MSNBC legal correspondent, Lisa Rubin. Okay, let's begin left to right. How about that? We've got so many great...
Once again, and everybody should pay attention to this. It's something to me, it's not the problem of Donald Trump, it's not the problem of anybody. It's something to me, it's like the whole world is gone upside down. The whole world, guys. It's all over the world, guys. From Africa, from Europe, from Middle East, from it's all over the world, guys. It's a problem. It's one thing. It's politics. It's politics. It's one thing. And then who suffer? The people with no money, the people with the middle class, that's all who suffer. Let's listen to this guy, and I think we're going to move up to something different.
And at least based on what we heard yesterday, maybe they'll have more today, but they came up short. They came up short in Wade's testimony. The witness, the friend who took the stand, was impeached. And this is the sort of thing that when you're presenting evidence, you don't want to have happen. But it turns out that this witness resigned in lieu of being fired from the district attorney's office. That threw her testimony about the timeline of the relationship into doubt. Ultimately, at the end of the day yesterday, it was just a big nothing burger, Willie. There was nothing that showed that Fani Willis and Nathan Wade had the sort of financial conflict of interest that Georgia law recognizes, something akin to a prosecutor who only gets paid if they win a case. That's the classic case at Georgia law where there's a conflict that results in disqualification. That just wasn't there yesterday in the courtroom.
So, Glenn, Joyce is right. We got deep in the weeds about how much cash did you pay for this dinner a couple of years ago, and DA Willis was saying, I don't remember, I don't keep receipts. She said she keeps large amounts of cash at homes and often pays her way in cash, splitting the bill with Mr. Wade on these dates. So you kind of got mired in all these details, but to pull way back, what did you see yesterday? What were the stakes? And did you see anything that would get rid of this case, that would push it down to someone else who may not take it up?
You know, Willie, as is always the case, I agree with Joyce. This is going nowhere. It will very soon be yesterday's news because there is no conflict, financial or otherwise. There's nothing that I saw in the testimony thus far recognizing additional witnesses will testify today, and the hearing is expected to go into next week. But I've seen nothing that has inured to the detriment of any defendant in the case. So I don't think the defense will be able to carry the burden. What I do think is what we saw yesterday is a tribute to the value of cameras in the courtroom, because as you watch DA Willis testify, I would be hard-pressed to believe that anything she said was a misrepresentation, was inaccurate, or was untruthful. She was angry, and she had every right to be angry. She was holding up public court filings that she contended contained all sorts of lies, and once they go out into the public square, people are going to believe those lies. She was hot, but she had every right to be hot. She remained respectful but forceful, and I don't think this hearing will win the defense any relief whatsoever.
News out of Russia. We're getting reports that jailed opposition leader, Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny is now dead. That is according to the Russian prison service. He was 47 years old. He spent his final months behind bars as the Russian leader reshaped the country to rally behind his war in Ukraine. We have a lot more to talk about in terms of his life. This is a man who really dedicated his life to opposing Putin's reign. He rose to prominence.
Navalny blamed Putin for the attack, a claim the Kremlin denies. Miraculously, Navalny recovered and participated in the investigation into his own poisoning, documenting the whole thing on social media. Despite the threats against his life, in January 2021, Navalny and his wife Yulia voluntarily returned to Moscow, where he was immediately arrested, ostensibly for violating the terms of a 2014 embezzlement case. Once in jail.
Do you know what the safest investment in the world right now is? Because it's not stocks, real estate, or crypto. It's actually...
Yeah, so if you look at him here, guy, it's like everything is going against the former president guy. Thing is not looking good for him, and I wish him the best, and I hope Thing, I hope he found a way out, guy. It's more to come. It's more to come, guy. Every day, day by day, more to come, guy. It's crazy.
Prosecutors. Instead, now the record has been made, and some of these creative theories of dismissing the case by the defense will eventually go up on appeal if there is a conviction. Whether or not they'll survive on appeal or have a shot at appeal, I mean, with the selective prosecution, that one's always a loser. The pre-indictment delay, that's the argument that, hey, the prosecution had these facts and they sat on them so long that it prejudiced the defendant, because we as defense counsel can't track down witnesses. They have died, they've moved away. That's a legitimate argument. I've tried it in cases where the prosecution sat on a case for decades. It has never worked, even to my knowledge, and I did some research on it some time ago. Very rare for pre-indictment delay to result in throwing the case out. But you preserve those record for appeal, and maybe you have a shot if you get convicted once you go up to the appellate division.
We're going to go to the Georgia hearing in 1 minute, but first, Dave Ehrenberg, you are a prosecutor, and right now you're looking at a split screen, one in New York and one in Georgia. I'm curious, what are your thoughts today? What are you looking for today?
Well, Joe, I think it's important that the New York trial moves ahead. I think that's an important revelation we just had, that this thing is going forward, because there are only two cases that have a chance to go to trial before the election. That's this one and the one in Washington, D.C. Over election interference. And although it is the one in New York, the fourth out of four cases when it comes to the strength of the case, it doesn't mean it's a weak case. I agree with Chuck on this one, but it is not an easy case for prosecutors because it's only a misdemeanor to falsify business records. It rises to a felony once the misdemeanor is used to conceal another crime. So what is that other crime? The indictment doesn't say, but Alvin Bragg, my counterpart up there, has insinuated it's a federal election crime. It's election interference that Trump tried to accomplish. Then the question is, can a state bootstrap on a federal law, a federal campaign finance thing on Georgia? The stakes are raised in Georgia because Fani Willis and Nathan Wade said, and Nathan Wade said this under oath, that their relationship started after he came aboard as special prosecutor. If the defense can prove otherwise, then it shows a lie to the court. It shows that they misled the court, and I think Nathan Wade will be bounced, and very likely Fani Willis as well.
Special counsel Jack Smith is urging the Supreme Court to reject former President Donald Trump's effort to delay his criminal trial for trying to overturn the 2020 election results. The special counsel filed his response last night, 6 days ahead of the deadline issued by the High Court. Smith stated that Trump's bid to put on hold an appeals court ruling that rejected his immunity claim fails to meet the necessary requirements for the Supreme Court to intervene. Joining us now, NBC News legal analyst Andrew Weissman. Andrew, let's start there. There's a lot going on today, even this morning in court. But in this case, in terms of immunity, is the issue that if this is delayed, it goes beyond the election and therefore the results are moot? Or what is Jack Smith's warning at this point to the courts?
Sure. So this is the case that involves the D.C. federal case involving January 6th and related acts. And basically, the argument that Donald Trump has made and lost at the trial level and in the Court of Appeals is that he should be immune from criminal prosecution, that a president should be able to, as one of the appellate judges said, actually order SEAL Team 6 to kill people, and he cannot be prosecuted unless he's immunized. And that obviously has been rejected. And Jack Smith in his paper says, in quite sort of, I think, appropriately apocalyptic terms, says the crimes charged here strike at the heart of our democracy, and says that if there's anything to this idea of absolute immunity, it would not apply in the case where you're seeking, and I'm going to quote, where the charges are where the president sought to overturn an election and thwart the peaceful transfer of power to his successor. He says that's the last place to recognize a novel form of absolute immunity. It's really quite shocking that this claim is even being made.
Right.
And finally, Jack Smith points out that if you do not sort of deny this now or hear it on an extremely expedited basis, you're going to thwart the public's right to a speedy and fair trial. So it's a very powerful brief. I think, by the way, one technical thing is I think the reason that he got his brief in today is that the court typically hears these kinds of things internally on Fridays. So by getting these papers in last night, I think that Jack Smith is hoping that the court will decide what it wants to do this Friday. So we could be hearing something very soon from the court.
And also we'll be hearing possibly from Judge Engoron on Friday. So that could be a busy day. That's tomorrow. Given the gravity of what Jack Smith is talking about in this brief, do you expect the Supreme Court to respond quickly?
Yes, absolutely. It's not clear. The thing that no one really knows is whether they're going to take it and decide it on an expedited basis, which could have the effect of obviously delaying the trial in the district court, which has been on hold for basically almost up to 3 months so far because of these appeals, or whether the other option is to just say, you know what, this is such a frivolous argument, it doesn't meet the legal standards for a stay, and we're not going to hear it, in which case we could be hearing that Judge Chutkan has given the green light to go forward. Now that's going to involve pretrial motions, et cetera, but that would mean that certainly by the end of May, beginning of June, she could have a trial. But I think that's about the earliest that we could expect that federal trial to go forward. The appropriately apocalyptic turn says the crimes charged here strike at the heart of our democracy, and says that if there's anything to this idea of absolute immunity, it would not apply in the case where you're seeking, and I'm going to quote, where the charges are where the president sought to overturn an election and thwart the peaceful transfer of power to his successor. He says that's the last place to recognize a novel form of absolute immunity. It's really quite shocking that this claim is even being made.
Right.
And finally, Jack Smith points out that if you do not sort of deny this now or hear it on an extremely expedited basis, you're going to thwart the public's right to a speedy and fair trial. So it's a very powerful brief. I think, by the way, one technical thing is I think the reason that he got his brief in today is that the court typically hears these kinds of things internally on Fridays. So by getting these papers in last night, I think that Jack Smith is hoping that the court will decide what it wants to do this Friday. So we could be hearing something very soon from the court.
And also we'll be hearing possibly from Judge Engoron on Friday. So that could be a busy day. That's tomorrow.
Court, which has been on hold for basically almost up to 3 months so far because of these appeals, or whether the other option is to just say, you know what, this is such a frivolous argument, it doesn't meet the legal standards for a stay, and we're not going to hear it, in which case we could be hearing that, expect that we're going to hear about a trial date today. There is at least scheduled a March 25th trial date. The judge in that case, the state case, has been trying to make sure that that state case doesn't interfere with the Judge Chutkan federal case. In other words, he has signaled that he is willing to go second, that he's not going to schedule in a way that thwarts her trial. But because that federal case is now on hold with no idea of when it's going to go forward.
Most people have no clue that in 2023, the best way to make money on Amazon.
Yeah.
Are you sick of using overly complicated traffic strategies for finding new buyers, like the consistent circle jerk of JV partnerships?
Everybody's what I'm trying to do here, guys, to make sure we go all over the place and find something make a sense with everything. And guy, honest with you, I believe the former president is in trouble. He's in deep trouble, guy. It's something to me. I'm not sure, but because I'm not know really what's going on, but it's something to me, guys. Thing get ugly for the president, for the former president. And let's see where that gonna go. Once again, like I say every day, guy, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Guy, let's see what you guys think about that. Do you think the former president will be re-elected as a second-term president of the United States? Do you think he's going anywhere, or do you think he's going to prison? So let me know what you guys think. Share, leave a comment, subscribe. Guy, that's a big problem. I don't know why you guys doesn't want to like to subscribe or like the video. You don't like the video because you like the video. You like the video because you want to support me. You want to show me support. That's why you do it. That's why I'm asking you for that favor. Guy, don't forget, always like and share the video. Guy, please, once again, when YouTube send me the monthly report, and when you look at the report, it say almost 87% of people, 97 of people don't subscribe to the channel. That's why the channel is not even hit to 100,000 subscribers yet. But we on a road to 100,000 subscribers. I want your help. I need your help. I need your help. Help me get there, guy. I'm on a road to 100,000 subscribers. I'll probably be missing maybe another 6,000 or maybe more or maybe less. I'm not sure yet. But please, I need your help. Subscribe, share, like the video. Guy, let's support each other, guy. Let's show love to each other, guy. Please don't forget again, subscribe and like. Bang. Let's go back. Let's see what's going on with the former President Donald Trump. Let's see what's going on. Before we end the video, we gotta find something to make sure we end it good. Okay.
Our country.
Putin even sent me a present, beautiful present with a beautiful note.
We just left Moscow. He could not have been nicer. He was so nice and so everything, but you have to give him credit. Russia is like, I mean, they're really hot stuff. I think I'd get along very well with Vladimir Putin.
He's running his country, and at least he's a leader, unlike what we have in this country.
Yeah, but again, he kills journalists that don't agree with him.
Well, I think our country does plenty of killing also, Joe. So. You know.
Wow.
And he called me a genius.
Wow.
He said Donald Trump is a genius, and he's
Oh
going to be
my
the leader
God.
of the party, and he's going to be the leader of the world or something. He said some good stuff about me. Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing. I think you will probably be rewarded mightily. My people came to me, Dan Coates came to me, and some others. They said they think it's Russia. I have President Putin. He just said it's not Russia. I will say this, I don't see any reason why it would be. So Putin is now saying it's independent, a large section of Ukraine. I said, how smart is that? And he's going to go in and be a peacekeeper. You got to say that's pretty savvy. It's not that Putin is smart, which of course he's smart, but the real problem is that our leaders are dumb. Vladimir Putin, has anybody ever heard of Vladimir Putin? Of Russia, says that Biden's, and this is a quote, politically motivated persecution of his political rival is very good for Russia because it shows the rottenness of the American political system. One of the presidents of a big country stood up and said, well, sir, if we don't pay and we're attacked by Russia, will you protect us? I said, you didn't pay? You're delinquent? He said, yes, let's say that happened. No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want. You got to pay. You got to pay your bills.
I mean, it goes on and on, Jonathan O'Meara, on and on. The praise is sickening for a war criminal.
Telegraphing.
For a guy who says the greatest geopolitical disaster of the 20th century was not World War I, was not World War II, was actually the collapse of the Soviet Union, and is still committing war crimes. And Donald Trump.
I think you will probably be rewarded mightily. My people came to me, Dan Coates came to me, and some others. They said they think it's Russia. I have President Putin. He just said it's not Russia. I will say this, I don't see any reason why it would be. So Putin is now saying it's independent, a large section of Ukraine. I said, how smart is that? And he's going to go in and be a peacekeeper. You got to say that's pretty savvy. It's not that Putin is smart, which of course he's smart, but the real problem is that our leaders are dumb. Vladimir Putin, has anybody ever heard of Vladimir Putin? Of Russia, says that Biden's, and this is a quote, politically motivated persecution of his political rival is very good for Russia because it shows the rottenness of the American political system. One of the presidents of a big country stood up and said, well, sir, if we don't pay and we're attacked by Russia, will you protect us? I said, you didn't pay? You're delinquent? He said, yes, let's say that happened. No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want. You got to pay. You got to pay your bills.
I mean, it goes on and on, Jonathan O'Meara, on and on. The praise is sickening.
Some others, they said they think it's Russia. I have President Putin. He just said it's not Russia. I will say this, I don't see any reason why it would be. I said, how smart is that? And he's going to go in and be a peacekeeper. You got to say that's pretty savvy. It's not that Putin is smart, which of course he's smart, but the real problem is that our leaders are dumb. Vladimir Putin, has anybody ever heard of Vladimir Putin? Of Russia, says that Biden's, and this is a quote, politically motivated persecution of his political rival is very good for Russia. Rottenness of the American political system. One of the presidents of a big country stood up and said, well, sir, if we don't pay and we're attacked by Russia, will you protect us? I said, you didn't pay? You're delinquent? He said, yes, let's say that happened. No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want. You got to pay. You got to pay your bills.
I mean, it goes on and on, Jonathan O'Meara, on and on. The praise is sickening for a war criminal.
Telegraphing.
For a guy who says the...
Yeah, there aren't...
Yeah.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
All right. What happened is when the former President Donald Trump coming out and said that about NATO and
Have you considered going solar in Florida,
and,
but afraid of the huge price tag it's at?
when it's about NATO, and he said to them, if you don't pay your bill, and then they like, he said, if you are attacked by Russia, and then what would you do? He said, I'm not going to do anything. He said, Democrat, and you don't pay your bills, so I let them know they do whatever they want with you. That really shook the world, guy. It is the former president of the United States. And then it's not like anybody who say that. It's not like me coming out and say something. They don't even know if I said it, because who's me? But the former president of the United States say that, and I think it's just really tough. And that doesn't help the former president of the United States. And that's the problem they probably have with him. He say whatever he want to say, and he said anytime, whatever, it doesn't matter, and either you like it or not like it, and he just said it. That's the way it is, guy. Once again, guy, I'm gonna let it go now, and then we're not gonna do 1 hour. We just gonna stop there. It's been a while since we're not loading any video. So now, and we just do this video. Please, guys, go ahead and go and support, like, share, and subscribe to my video, guys. Thank you so much, everybody. And then I think we're gonna end up this. We're gonna end up the video with blah 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 with the former President Donald Trump, and it's all the video is all about him. By the way, it's all about him, and it's something to me. The former president thing not going good for him. It's like everything is everything is going. Yeah, there's a former lawyer for former President Donald Trump, Michael Cohen, and he's always there, and I don't know. Let's listen to President Biden. What do you say?
It was done to stand with America after we were attacked on 9/11. We should never forget it.
So that's Cohen, where I can observe and make my own kind of objective response to how I think President Biden is handling things with speeches like that. It's not some hearsay in a report by a political operative. You and I, the brigaders, Americans, we can take a look at a speech like that from President Biden, and we.
More than 2 hours of oral arguments at the United States Supreme Court. History will record it as case 20719. Donald Trump versus Norma Anderson. Norma Anderson, a Colorado resident, a Republican, who asked the Secretary of State to see whether or not former President Trump should be excluded from that state ballot, having committed, from her point of view, insurrectionist acts on January 6, 2021. The arguments before the Supreme Court were vigorous. Many different parts of the Constitution were examined. I want to bring in former President Trump attorney Tim Parlatore. He spent over a year working on former President Trump's several legal challenges.
I don't even know if we have anymore. I'm not sure that we even have a Republican candidate, somebody running but not making any impact. So as you know, we won Iowa, we won New Hampshire in records, and each one a record. We think we're going to do very well. I'm heading out right now to Nevada for the caucus and the caucuses, and I think we're going to do very well there. All the polls indicate we're in the 90s, maybe more than the 90s. We certainly did well in a primary that didn't matter, where they voted very nicely. And we have tremendous support from the people of our country. They hate what's happening at the border. They hate what's happening just generally. We're not a respected country anymore. We're laughed at all over the world. They're laughing at us. And they hate what's happening. They hate seeing it. They love love our country. They want it to come back. And we're going to do that. If you think about it.
As former President Trump outside his Mar-a-Lago residence, Robert Costa, chief elections and campaign correspondent. Robert, not only what the president said, kind of typical, what we would imagine he would say, but your reactions to what happened at the Supreme Court today as well.
What you saw from former President Trump there was effectively a shrug. He's looking at what's happening at the Supreme Court and not believing it's going to have any effect on his run for the Republican presidential nomination. He didn't even name his own opponent, who's still in the race, former Trump ambassador Nikki Haley. And in a sense, this isn't going to have an immediate effect on the Republican race. Based on our reporting at CBS News, our own conversations with voters, they're not paying close attention to every single iteration.
Based on what you heard in the oral arguments this morning, the Supreme Court will not only decide
assumption, then it may be left up to the political process. You can imagine that issue of whether Donald Trump should be qualified to hold the office of the presidency should he win the election in November could be a major, major fight on the floor of Congress.